Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's back in the day. So you guys, is it okay if I just give you the real brief message for the new year, and then we'll go into the birthday. Please stick with us. I know everybody's time is so valuable, and I'm honored that you are here. Look, have made time for today. Joy and Toy wanted me to be consistent because for 35 years, every January, I was giving a New Year message. She said, just because of the pandemic, you're going to still do it. I'm like, okay. So let me go ahead and put everybody on mute and include. Okay. So, oh, I got to let some more people in. Toy. I'm gonna need her to let people in so I could go forward. But anyway, I thought, what would I talk about today for the new year? It's a very different kind of a new year. So many things have changed, and we want to look at this new year with good lens. We want to be able to make sure we position ourselves for greatness, for success. We want to make sure we position ourselves to get some yardage down the field. We want to position ourselves so that we will not be whipped, but equipped by the circumstances we're all facing. It's historical, it's unprecedented. And if we are not flat-footed in a foundation of our faith, our self-awareness, who we are, what we were born to do, what we're capable of, the winds of change could blow us away. And so I said, what could I start with? And I love metaphors. And I thought about my father was a jeweler, and that's how I got my name. And I was looking at my notes, and I saw that there's 4 things that characterize a diamond. It is the cut, it is the color, its clarity, and its carat, weight. And so I decided that I was going to come up with a value that I think we should all embrace for the new year. And so I'm going to give you one for each decade of my life. So I'll be giving you 7 points. And this is not exclusive of other things you can do, but these are the 7 things that I know that I'm going to be standing on, so that I position myself to withstand, to endure, to succeed, to fulfill, and to manifest. I think it's so important that we fall in love with the process of growing. We're never going to stop. We're never going to totally arrive. We're never going to get it perfectly. But if we, let me make sure everybody muted. Okay. If we position ourselves and pour into ourselves, I believe these 7 points can make a difference and can allow you to be the diamond that you are. The one thing we know about diamonds have to be polished. Diamonds have to be cut. Diamonds value is determined by its carat weight. And so I use the word character instead of carat weight. A diamond is clear, but guess what? A diamond has flaws. Every single diamond has a flaw. In fact, whenever I bought fake zirconia diamonds in the past, they always made sure they put a flaw in it so that it's just like a diamond. So that always reminds me, Jewel, when you're straining and stretching to be perfect, a diamond is not perfect. It has flaws. We all have them, but that doesn't mean we can't work on ourselves. So the 7 points, the first one is so obvious. That is that we want to make sure we are clear about the goals that we want to accomplish this year. We want to have clarity like a diamond. And a lot of times when I'm working with people, they got 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 million things they want to accomplish, and they're setting themselves up for failure, to drop the ball. So I always say, choose at least 3 main goals that you want to focus on in this new year. And it could be an intangible goal or a tangible, something that you can touch and measure, or it could be something intangible, like I want to grow in my temper. I want to grow in my savings habit. I want to grow in my eating habits. I want to be more patient. I want to be more punctual. Those are the type of goals that help you to build a strong foundation when you build those intangible goals before you start reaching for the car and the house and all the things that are physical that can fade away. So the first thing is get really clear about your goals this year. define at least 3 things. You may say, well, this year I want to move, or I want to retire, or I want to travel, or I want to go back to school, or I want to have a healthier relationship in my marriage or with my children. Those are intangible goals. Get clear about it. Don't be vague, because your mind is like a computer. It's like a GPS. The more clear you are about what you want, the brain knows how to find and confirm things in the universe to match up with what you put a focus on. Just imagine getting in your car and you want to go someplace new, and you say, come on, car, let's go. It's going to say, well, what's the address? And you have to give it the exact address. You can't say, well, it's somewhere around Slauson and Crenshaw. You got to be specific. So I want to challenge you. Don't be afraid to be specific. A lot of times we're not specific because we think, if I ask for this, now I can't pay attention to some other things I want. You got to prioritize what's really important to you this year. The second thing is connections. The reason there's so many people in this Zoom room is because I work diligently on maintaining connections. That is my wealth. I am very wealthy when it comes to relationships as opposed to money. And if I put as much effort into building my finances as I had done my connections, I probably would have more. But that's not to say I'm not working on it. I am working on every area of my life. But I realize the reason I'm seeing the results of being connection focused. This is why it's difficult for some people in this pandemic, because of social distancing and not being as social. They don't realize that it's creating a handicap. We can't get through this life by ourselves. We need each other. And I love that Hezekiah Walker song that says, I need you to survive. And so connections will open up doors that somebody else can't open up for you. God can work through people, but if you're not connected to the right people, you could be missing a blessing. I tell you, in the 35 years that I've been speaking, most of my speaking engagements came from a connection. It wasn't because I advertised it. It wasn't because, I was in Oprah's magazine, or it was because somebody recommended me. It's because I nurtured relationships. And I know it's not easy for a lot of people to nurture relationships. It could be very socially awkward for some people because they don't like people. They don't like being around people. They're shy, or they underestimate the power of connection. And so it is definitely a skill set, learning how to connect. It's like electricity. The plug doesn't work until you plug it into the wall, until you plug it into the power. And there is power in the people that are connected to you. And you want to ask yourself, am I connected to the right people? And not to be using them or to manipulate them, but to understand the power of connections. This is why people who play golf want to play with other people that play golf. And what do you think they do on the golf course? They network. This is why wealthy people want to hang around wealthy people, because where'd you get that contract? And how did you get that deal? And where is the latest piece of property to buy? Where should I invest? They're talking to people to get the right connections so that they can bear fruit. So the third C, and this may be a challenge for some of you because it's a challenge for me sometimes, but the third C is, where do I need to correct, adjust, and convict myself about habits that I have that are blocking my success? Where do I need to correct? My husband is very big on punctuality. It used to irritate me, but I saw the result, and I used to always make excuses, and I found myself stressed. And I started making the adjustments to think ahead. I started seeing the results of getting to the airport on time. I started seeing that I was more effective, a better professional, that I wasn't always late. I wasn't making excuses. So I convicted myself, Julie, you got to do better with your punctuality. You can't be defensive because your husband brought it to your attention. And a lot of times that's why we have issues in our relationships, because the people that know us the most can sometimes be a thorn in our side. We get defensive. And I know I've been defensive. I know he's defensive. I know that we all are defensive. We don't like to be corrected. But I use the word correct because I wanted everything to be with a C. So I'm just simply saying, I want to encourage you to be honest with yourself this year and ask yourself, what habit do I have that is really blocking me from prospering, from being healthy, from being happy, from having peace, from having joy? What is it? And it could be something very small, minor, or it could be something major. But I believe with every fiber of my being that when we look on the inside and we do the reflection and we really are intent on developing ourselves to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, we'll know what it is. You know, do you collect too much clutter? Are you snappy? Are you mean? Are you unorganized? Are you impulsive? Are you frugal? Are you, the list could go on, but I think you get the point. So we've got clear goals, we've got connections, and we've got correction. Let me check my phone because I think people are trying to get in the room. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay. Joy, if you're on the line, could you send Debbie Chandler the link? And could you send one to Evelyn?
Oh, I already have. Okay, I'll send it again. Okay. Debbie Chandler and Evelyn. Okay.
Yeah, it just texts me. Okay, so those are the first 3 of my diamond principles for this year. Everybody, we have to be principle centered. When you know what your principles are, when you know what your core beliefs are, and they're non-negotiable. But if you never stop to say, this is my principle, this is what I live by, this is what I cannot deviate from, this is my core belief. See, a lot of times we get into relationships, friendships, marriages, business, contracts, and they're in direct conflict. Oh, with our principles. They're in direct conflict with our personality, our pace. And so doing the work to find out, you know, who am I and what do I stand for and what's important to me and what guiding principles am I going to live by, because I want to be fruitful and not futile. A lot of times we find ourselves in relationships, in businesses, in churches, in organizations, and your time is futile because it has nothing to do, it's not lined up with your principles. I can't tell you how many times I've walked away from organizations or churches or situations. I said, this is not lined up with who I am. And guess what? It changes over time. So here on my 70th birthday, you know, I'm gonna have to look at some of my principles and values and see, do I need to make some adjustments? Do I need to add to it? Do I need to take something off the list? Because things change as we enter different stages and ages. The 4th diamond principle is cope. This year, it is critical to your sanity, your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, your relationships, to learn how to adapt to this time that we're living in. And it has been said, I can't think of the person whose quote it was, but I've always loved it. And it said, the one that cannot adapt is the one that will not survive. See, a lot of times we think it's going to be money or status or looks or what hookup you have. The bottom line is, if you can't adapt to the high waves, the ship that is rocking, the politics that are changing, the changes in your body, the changes in Wall Street, if you cannot adapt, you're not going to survive. So you want to make sure you build up that muscle of resiliency to adapt, because change is happening all the time, whether we like it or not. There's a reality that, you know, loved ones will pass away, loved ones will move away, loved ones may stop speaking, your body can change, your job can change. So many of you are working from home. So many of you are saying, I've seen family members and friends that are panicking and full of anxiety because they're not coping well. So use these changing times to get more flat-footed in your sense of well-being, your connectedness to the divine, as well as horizontally with other people. That is the cross. Mm-hmm. Am I connected to the divine to ground me? And am I connected horizontally on a human level? Am I connected to the right people? So many of you, you know, I call you, I text you, I stay connected with you because I know sometimes it's difficult. I know that some are single. I know that some people are alone, and it's difficult to adapt to this interesting time. So we've got clear goals, connections, correct and adapt, cope, and the 5th one is calm. how to be calm in a storm, how to be calm and manage your nervous system. You may be thinking that you're fine, but your nervous system, your body keeps track of everything. What you're watching on TV, what you're watching on the news, who's calling you, what you're reading. Your body is registering everything, and it's going to affect your nervous system. So we'll hear things like, that person just dropped dead. You don't know what they were holding on the inside. People don't have a heart attack. We have hurt attacks. And when we can't handle the hurt, the body registers this toxicity and the strain on the nervous system. The blood pressure goes up, headaches. So I want to encourage you to regulate your nervous system, regulate what you're thinking, watch your blood pressure. Know that there's great value in meditation and prayer. Know that there's great value in guarding not only your heart, but your health. Is that something that you want to focus on this year? Because a person whose health is compromised is going to be more vulnerable to the virus, more vulnerable to heart attacks, more vulnerable to high blood pressure, more vulnerable to depression. If you're not exercising, if you're not getting sunshine, if you're not laughing, if you are not, I love the scripture in Psalm 46:10, it says, be still. Be still. And there are a lot of people like, I gotta go, I gotta get out the house, I gotta go. They don't know how to be still. It's a challenge, because when we've had the freedom to go anywhere, do anything, anytime, a lot of people are not, their nervous system is a wreck. And we even say things like, oh, you get on my nerves. So if your relationships are not healthy and you think somebody getting on you, the kids getting on your nerves, the customers are getting on your nerves, the news is getting on your nerves, all of those things are affecting your nervous system. So find ways to seek calmness. One of the things I do sometimes, I just sit in the car. I'll just sit in the car in the parking lot, and I'll just open up the sunroof. I'll either scream and get the tension out, or I'll listen to some music, or I'll sit quietly and just exhale. You got to find what works for you to de-stress, because this is no joke what we're going through. And you may be walking around smiling, everything is fine. But if you are not protecting your nervous system, your heart, and your mind, you are vulnerable to all types of assaults and insults. So we've got clear goals, connections, cope, calm your nerves. 6, creativity. We are creative beings. And I'm not talking about just art or music, but to be creative means that we're going to learn how to innovate, reimagine, do something different, adjust and adapt, and say, oh, I can't do this, but I can do this. Oh, I only have this, so let me make this. You may realize that you only have one stream of income, and you got to create another stream of income. That's being creative. You may realize, oh, I only have so much in the cupboard. Well, let me create something. I can make a goulash, or I can stretch this hamburger meat, or let me be creative. Oh, I want to buy something. Let me really check out all the prices and be creative and get coupons, or ask somebody for the best deals. Let me get creative. Creativity is in your bones. And in the Word of God, it says we are co-creators. That means that we were endowed with the ability to see beyond what we see with our physical eye. We were endowed with the ability to take weeds and turn them into greens. Come on, somebody. Our elders knew how to make a dress out of, I used to make book covers for my school books out of brown paper bags. We used to be very creative, and it got shut down because everything is so, available, and people, just buy this and do this and all these shortcuts, which has dumbed us down not to realize we can be creative. We can figure out how to do things differently in this time. We have to realize that we're stepping into a new normal, that we've got to rethink some things. We've got to pivot. We've got to be creative. How can I do my life differently? How can I eat differently? How can I create joy in a different way. Maybe I can't do what I used to do, but I can be creative. Do I work with my hands? Do I sing? How can I be creative? The last thing is relating to the idea of a diamond is cut. I think in terms of us being cut on a personal level. When you've been cut, it's painful. It could be illness. It could be a divorce. It could be a loss of a loved one. It could be being betrayed. We've all been cut. Raise your hand if anybody knows I'm talking. Anybody been cut? Yeah, we've all been cut. Doesn't feel good, does it? But that is what makes a diamond, is cutting away. And so what I've understood is that cutting either will deform you or transform you. The things that have hurt you in the past will either deform you and make you lack trust. It'll make you have less joy. It'll make you mean. It can make you nasty. It can make you rude. It could make you shut down, be isolated, not be as caring and compassionate. But for me, every time I've been cut, it has transformed me. It has made me see things differently. It has made me kinder. It has made me more patient. It has made me more pliable, more flexible, because I know that pain is going to happen for all of us. And so when you are aware of that, you're not caught off guard. You're like, oh, okay. Nobody said life was fair. Every situation doesn't come with a bow, but it's still a gift. This life is a gift. You may not have a fancy paper on it. You may not have a bow, but you've got a gift. And the gift is to say, will I be bitter or will I be better? Because we're all going to get the wind knocked out of us. The wind knocked out of us. And either we allow this to transform us and think differently, love differently, eat differently, show up differently, or we sit there and we cross our legs and we become bitter and mad at God and mad at the world. So, hey, guess what? I did pretty good. It's 3:30, Joy. What? I told you I'm getting better.
I'm proud of you, sis.
Pay attention. Come on, somebody. I did it. I got under the wire.
Yay!
Yay, Jewel. You're growing and
Absolutely.
showing, girl.
Amen. The light is on.
Oh,
You go, Queen.
Okay, so guess what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna do the
Jewel,
diva thing.
Jewel, pat yourself on the back.
I just did. So I'm gonna go do the diva thing, and I'm gonna change. And Tori's
That's right.
coming here. Tori's coming here like, you
The
gotta do it.
party,